Doc, I'm 33 years old and been suffering ED for years. My penis falls asleep while having sex, and it's frustrating for me and my partner. I feel like giving up. And Doc, I tried vitamins and even Viagra, also working out. My penis just feels small and not alive. I'm lost, but keeping up with your videos. I don't know what to do at this point. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing. This is a very sensitive issue, and I really appreciate you asking and trusting me in this process. So I think one thing as the 33-year-old with erectile issues, you have to ask yourself is, when did this first happen? Is this something new, or is this something that I've been dealing with ever since I started having sex, And so if it's something new, what you always want to do, and this is any of you, you want to trace it back to when did it first start? Did it first start after you started taking a new medication? Did it first start after you met a girl at the club and sex was so rough and the day afterwards your stuff was hurting, right? So you got to ask yourself what was happening when things first got started. So, okay, so if you can't figure out anything like that, was there any trauma? Is there potential infection that could have taken place? Did I start on a new medication? Did a significant stressful event kick this off? Was it a breakup? Was it a death of a family member? All of these things can really impact erectile health and erectile function. At the core of erectile function, though, are the things we always talk about, right? We talk about blood flow. We talk about the hormones. We also talk about, what is the prostate doing? So thinking in terms of blood flow, ultimately, if you've injured your erection, that can interfere with blood flow. On top of an injury to your erection, maybe something's going on neurologically. Have you had any impact issues? Have you had a bad car accident, any back pain, anything like that? So you want to try to trace back to when this started. So my question back to him when he asked this question is, how long has this been going on, or is this something new? So that's always what you want to ask yourself. So then when you trace back to when all of this started, now we have an idea as to what could have precipitated the event, right? Some of you are telling me, well, Doc, I didn't have any trouble until I had COVID, or until I got a shot for COVID. All of these things are useful because we can trace back to where the problem started and how we can situate ourselves to help. The next question you always have to ask is, do I watch porn? Do I masturbate a lot? And I find oftentimes in young guys who have erection issues, they do masturbate a lot because they feel like rubbing it and stroking it is going to help, right? Like you're alone, you're by yourself. Well, shoot, let me see if it's working. Let me see if I can get it to work. Let me try this, so that becomes part of it. The problem being, though, that if you do watch a lot of porn, because maybe you're saying, well, I'm not getting as stiff as I should or could, maybe if I watch my favorite scene in this adult movie, then maybe I can stiffen up. The problem with that is that it messes up with your brain chemistry if you're doing it too much, because one, it makes it so that it can potentially deplete or decrease your dopamine levels. Dopamine is essential for an erection. It's also essential for passion and excitement. So it can interfere with your dopamine levels, but also what it can do is it creates a fantasy, unrealistic expectation for when you actually are in the throes of passion. So you're with your real life girlfriend and you're expecting her to be like, oh, yeah, and she's not, because she's a real person and that's just not how she expresses herself sexually. So you're just kind of like, damn, it'd be nice if she made some noise. I don't know. So then you go back to your video and where it is just like you like it. So what you're doing is you're kind of training your brain and your erection to respond to the porn, right? There actually is porn-induced erectile dysfunction. So that's another thing. Are you engaged a little bit too much in porn or masturbation? That could be depleting your erectile capacity. Have you had an injury? How are your hormones holding up? And then, I don't care how old you are, you have to ask yourself, do I have any other associated symptoms? Have I recently had a elevated blood sugar, an elevated blood pressure? Have I recently noticed I'm peeing more than normal? Have I recently noticed that when I go to pee, I just kind of have to push it out a little bit? It's not responding like it should. Because is it blood flow? Is it nerve function? Is there something going on up here? Is it hormonally related? And of course, we always have to talk about, is my nitric oxide depleted? Do I have enough nitric oxide to work? So oftentimes when I find that people don't respond to Viagra, it's because their body's ability to make nitric oxide has gone out of the wayward. It's just not happening anymore. Another thing that can happen is that if the tissue of the erection is damaged because it's had decreased blood flow, because it hasn't been exercising, because things haven't been flowing right, then that damaged tissue isn't going to respond no matter what's happening, right? So those are the places that as a young person developing ED that you really want to start. Right. And then I noticed he also said that he's tried Viagra, he's tried herbal supplements, he's tried all these different things and nothing is working. So when that happens, you really have to pull full back and try to drill down and find the underlying cause of the erectile issues if you ever want to fix it. Because here's the thing, you'll spend thousands of dollars. You might go get a P shot, you might get some Shockwave, you might buy the Phoenix, you might buy this and this and that. And ultimately, as long as that underlying cause isn't fixed or dealt with, then it may continue, right? And here's the thing, if you have a chronic illness of any type, whether it's diabetes or hypertension, we know that just off a definition that your body's ability to create nitric oxide has decreased. It just has. So if you have a chronic condition of any sort, then you need to look inside for nitric oxide levels. Should get a test. Order a little test kit from Amazon. Test to see if your nitrate levels are depleted. And if so, work really hard to get them up. The E-Function smoothie recipes, they help you produce more nitric oxide. There's some great supplements out there that help you produce nitric oxide. So here's the thing. There's always going to be something that can help. And when you run into erectile issues, your big job is to figure out what you can do to help and to not freaking give up, okay? Because there's always some room for improvement.